Now for this hour, we start with Middle East. The Israeli military has identified a new round of missiles launched from Iran towards Israel on the sixth day of the escalating Middle East conflict. According to their military, Israel's defensive systems are currently engaged to intercept the threat as the war continues to rage. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy has said that Ukraine's partners, including the United States, has sought Kyiv's help in defending against Iranian drones. Let's listen into what the Ukrainian president has shared.
Партнери звертаються до нас, до України, щоб ми допомогли із захистом від шахедів, з експертизою, з реальною роботою. Були запити щодо цього і від американської сторони. Зараз цими днями я говорив з лідерами Еміратів, Катару, Бахрейну, Йорданії, Кувейту. Будуть ще перемовини з іншими регіональними лідерами. Ми координуємося з нашими партнерами в Європі. Звісно, будь-яка наша допомога, тільки за умови, що це не зменшить наш власний захист в Україні. І що це буде інвестицією в наші дипломатичні можливості. Ми допомагаємо в захисті від війни тим, хто допомагає нам, Україні, наближати достойне завершення війни. Я говорив сьогодні також з Рустемом Умєровим по його комунікації з американською стороною. Ми продовжуємо фактично в щоденному режимі спілкуватися з Америкою. Зараз через ситуацію навколо Ірану ще немає необхідних сигналів для тристоронньої зустрічі, але як тільки безпекова ситуація і загальний політичний контекст дозволять продовжити.
Meanwhile, portraits and memorial of Iran's late supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei have been seen in Tehran after he was killed by US-Israeli strike over the weekend. Now we welcome Mr. Sol Sadka. He's a political commentator, joins us live from Tel Aviv. Thank you very much, Mr. Sadka, for joining us again. First of all, are you still going in and out of bunker? How's the situation like there? Are you staying safe? Please let us know.
Yes, thank you for asking. Everything is good here. We get most messages, alerts every few hours, and you have to go and take shelter behind as much concrete as you can find, usually in a bunker or in a stairwell, and then the alarm passes and everyone goes back to normal life. In fact, from about half an hour's time at 12 o'clock Israel time, the regulations about what is allowed to be open will be relaxed. In other words, the Israeli military has decided that the threat from Iran after 5 days since the beginning of the war has already abated enough that some semblance of normal life can be returned to. And my guess, those regulations will be increasingly released over the next few days. The pace of rockets falling has vastly reduced, probably as a result of the destruction of most of Iran's launcher capabilities, as well as much of their missile stocks on the ground, also accounting for the fact that they've used at least a third of their missile stocks already. So, as regards Iran's capability to project power in that way and threaten people in Israel and around the region, remember Iran's missiles have the entire Middle East in range, as well as the entirety of India. There's no one in India, or even Bangladesh and Pakistan, who are safe from Iranian missile attack. And that is being degraded at a very fast pace.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that and also raising the alarm about the situation. And Mr. Sadka, you know, as we see, you have mentioned that although the missiles towards Israel is decreasing, we know that Iran has hit many places in the GCC region, also in Israel, also in Kuwait, Iraq, and, you know, in and around the Middle East. So do you think that was this underestimation from Iran's side towards the capabilities of these regions, including of Israel? Or do you think it was vice versa? Do you think these countries, Israel, US, underestimated Iran's capabilities? What's your analysis?
I think the Western states and the Gulf nations had a very clear picture of what Iran was capable of. They understood exactly what they had and pretty much where they were keeping all the stuff. The IRGC was deeply infiltrated by foreign spies from many, many nations. The Iranians, however, due perhaps to their religious view on the world, which is not necessarily tied into reality, might have had a completely false picture of what their arsenal could inflict. Or it could also be that their arsenal of ballistic missiles was not really intended to carry explosives on the end of these rockets. These missiles are not sufficiently accurate. If you fire them at a point, only 50% of the time will the missile even land within half a kilometer of where you shoot it at. So when you have something like that, it's really only good as a terror weapon against a large mass of population. And even then, it has a limited effect against a place like Israel, where everyone has an alert and 10 minutes warning, and also usually a bunker under their building, which will keep them relatively safe. So despite firing off well over 350 missiles at Israel, they have only managed to kill, at last count, 12 Israelis. This is a catastrophe for them. It means their entire program as a strategic threat was worth nothing. A strategic threat means that they could attack Israeli military bases, critical infrastructure, power plants, desalination plants, to hit aircraft on the ground, and to hit them in timely fashion and precisely. They have none of that, none of it at all. So they didn't realize that. They were, however, building these missiles because at the same time they were building a nuclear program. And once the nuclear program was complete and they had the bombs, they really only had to figure out how to miniaturize those bombs, and they could put them on the end of the missiles. Now, when you have a nuclear explosion, it doesn't matter if you miss by half a kilometer. You'll still destroy everything. You'll destroy an airbase, you'll destroy even an aircraft carrier, and that's what they were going for. That's why they weren't particularly focused on the precision of their missiles. And it's why, because they didn't finish their nuclear program and now will never finish their nuclear program, their missiles really aren't that useful as a deterrent weapon. They're really just a nuisance. Of course, they do kill a few people. That's part of war, unfortunately and tragically, and it's very unfair. But that doesn't provide a strategic threat to a nation. It simply provides a minimal deterrence.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadka, for sharing that insight with us. Please do stay with us as we come back to you.